Hi guys, I'm Blackie and welcome back to my channel. Okay, and this is a reply video to one of my subscribers who has a Buck 110. And 2 or 3 times now he's asked me, Blackie, please do a video dedicated to how to sharpen a Buck 110. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, let's talk about the edge. Whether you have an old one or a new one, that makes a difference. A really old one, back during the 80s, they put a very hard type of steel into the buck knives. Their trademark was they took a nail and would put it up there and baton through a nail and cut a nail. That's how hard the steel was. Disadvantage, it took forever to sharpen that sucker if it ever got dull. It held an edge fantastic, but when it did, but back in that day we didn't have diamond stones. Today we have diamond stones. Now this one is available at Walmart. If it's a Work Sharp is the name of it, and it's put out by, oh, I forget the name. I think it's a Lansky Workshop. Sharp is the name of it. It's meant to be an all-in-one. Now these side plates do come off, that we can wash them. And inside of it, you will find a wrench for taking broadhead stuff off a bow and arrow. Quite often you find these in the fall over there in sporting goods. But it's magnetic and you can just put it back either way. So if you prefer it a certain way with a certain course or regular on it, you can do it. And it says clearly on the back, this is a course, that one's a fine. And you can hear it locks right in. Now, you also have a ceramic steel that you can rotate, where it's a serrated or whether it's a smooth rod, just by rotating it. And you've got another small rod up here. And on the back you got lapping compound on a piece of leather to strop it. Okay, so this will be a good choice for sharpening a Buck 110. Now let's talk about it. You're going to start with the coarse blade. The coarse blade. If you will look on um, 20 degree is what's on that end, and this one says 20 degree and the other one says, so it's a 20 degree is what this puts on it. What that means is you lay the knife up there like this and let it lay. This will be your angle, see, and then you draw it in a nice fluid motion. Lay it up there and keep it at that angle and draw it in a nice fluid motion. You want to do exactly the same amount on each side, so you do 10 strokes on each side, so to speak, just like this. Now if you want a free-handed little different angle, that's up to you, but that will give you a working edge. Now once you have stropped it back and forth, I recommend that you take the knife, if it is dull, and do 50 strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 50. That's going to be 25 times on each side. Once you've done the 25, hold it up and put your thumb to the back of the blade and push away from you and see if you feel a burr. Now burr means it's going to feel kind of like an edge of a soup can, a little jagged, or a little like it catches your finger. It's not going to cut you if you go straight across. Do not ever slide up and down. Push away from it, but you will know if you hit a burr, because it'll suddenly be like slick, slick, kind of a drag. With that kind of a drag is where you've got an edge a little uneven. The edge should be symmetrical, the same on both sides. If you sharpen too much on one side, you get this. And see this little finger stick tip? That's a burr. It means that the edge is actually kind of rolled over to the other side, and that's what your finger's kind of hooking. Okay? If you get one like that, go to the ceramic rod, lay it up there in a nice long fluid motion. Again, you got an angle right there. Pull it. Put it on the little ramp and keep that same angle. Just do it like that. Nice, long, even stroke. Now when you're first learning it and you're getting muscle memory, you're going to have to just trust me. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel a little bit weird, okay? What you do is you get on the angle and try to maintain that angle all the way through. Don't make it any steeper, any shallower, because then you get a wavy edge, and we don't want that. We want it the same from beginning to end. Because if I start out with a knife like this and I flatten it out toward the end, what you have is a curve on the edge. And it'll never truly get sharp because it always seems to be unevenly balanced. The good news is you can always just start over and do those 25 strokes, doing it the same every way. Now, bear down, add a little bit of pressure. You want to pretend that you're actually trying to cut this stone. Now, this is the fine side right here. So I want to bear down on it. Making sure, see my thumb sticking up? You don't want that. You want everything below ground. I should be sitting this on a table, but I'm holding it up so that you can see. And I'm going to pull it nice, long, and even. Lay it on that. Make sure it's on. And then pull it nice, long, and even. 25 strokes on the fine side as well. 50 strokes, excuse me. 50 strokes on the fine side. Start out with coarse, 50 strokes. Then take it over to that thing, just make like 5 passes on the ceramic. Then go to the fine diamond side and do 50 strokes on that side. Then check and see how sharp it is. Once you get it pretty close, I think I'm pretty happy with it. Then go to this leather strip on the back of it, and you want to drag away from you, just like that, so that, showing you from your angle, start up like this and pull toward you. You want the honing thing to go toward the edge, so it's starting from the back, and then when you reverse direction, you do the same thing. That way, if there's any burr there, it pushes it toward the side, you can feel it. See? Now, you've done all that, you take your thumb and you do this, walking away. See, so I don't cut myself. It should be nice and sharp now. Swap hands. Come all the way to the end. Now, like right there at the tip, right at that very tippy tip, I have a little bit of a burr. That's what this little stone is for. Right here, I can come up and just lightly do like that. And cut that off. Okay, nice and smooth. Put a drop of oil in here, and also if you look straight inside right there, it looked like a bar in there. You're seeing the back of this spring, where this spring actually pivots. See, it's got a pivot point right here. So when I press down, it lifts up to the unlock. There's a notch in it. But down in there, put a drop of oil in there every so often. Also take a Q-tip or something every so often, clean that out, because it'll get full of dust, dirt, dryer lint, etc. Clean it out. And then finally, up here on the bearing surface on this end, put a drop of oil. These buck knives will last a lifetime as long as you take care of it. You need just a drop of lubrication every so often. What kind of oil? You don't have to get the fancy motor oil. I recommend 3-in-1 machine oil. Simply go to the hardware department and ask for 3-in-1 machine oil. It's what my family's used to sharpen knives and lubricate knives, hinges, springs, everything since I was a baby. And it works really, really well. Honing oil is just a real fine oil, and 3-in-1 machine oil is awful close to it and a whole lot cheaper. And so getting one of them works really well. Now, these leather sheaths. The brass will tarnish if you leave it in the sheath too long. So if you're planning on storing it in a collection, notice how there's a little bit of bergaderie starting around that brass right there. Clean these up every so often. Now, a great thing to do if you're going to put this up for, I'm putting it up and I'm not going to use it for a while, is to take a chapstick and just lightly smear a little bit of that chapstick wax on the brass and put it in there. I don't care if it tarnishes, but if you're one of them that want to make sure it's not going to tarnish, don't store it in the leather. The leather will react with it and will cause it to turn green. I don't care. I'll just buff it when I pull it out. But that's a very quick, simple tutorial on how to sharpen a buck 110. They can be a very effective field knife, and God, I've used one since I was a boy. 50 plus years. I've used one off and on. I have carried other knives as everyday carry, but I've also carried bucks of 110 a lot. It was the woodsman's pocket knife when I was a kid. It was the knife you carried going fishing, going hunting, going whatever. I have cleaned deer, I have cleaned squirrels, I have cleaned fish, I have cleaned everything with a buck 110. And it is a very, very good choice for a field knife. Hope you've enjoyed this content, guys. If you have, please hit that like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.